I move that Committee Report 99 and Resolution 12-57 be adopted.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. For the explanation, Councilmember Gabbard.
This resolution urges the State of Hawaii and the United States Food and Drug Administration to require labeling of genetically engineered food.
Everyone in this room has been elected by the people. You have not been elected by a corporation. You've been elected by the people. And as a result, why can't you honor our freedom of choice?
So you're objecting to 12-57 based upon the consumer should not know what the label or labels should or should not contain?
Genetic engineering is a process, not a product. The issue is that it is not nutritionally different. It is not something added, and it is not something that you can measure. When a food produced by biotechnology has nutritional quality that is the same as other crop varieties, and when allergens are not present, then there is no scientific basis for labeling that food as something different. Requiring the labeling of foods produced from GMO crops would deliberately mislead the public into mistakenly thinking that there was something different, inferior, or dangerous in that food product. Labeling of GMO foods would contradict the mountain of scientific evidence that shows their safety.
I dropped off at your offices a 52-page report with 352 references that indicated that Monsanto's herbicide Roundup Ready caused birth defects, embryonic death, lung, kidney, heart, and skeletal malformations, endocrine disruption, human cell death, DNA damage, and cancer. And a new latest report came out that linked Roundup to Parkinson-related brain damage.
I recognize that many people feel apprehension about foods produced by biotechnology. Many editorial articles appear in the internet making false claims about the dangers of the foods produced by biotechnology, and myths about so-called frankenfoods abound throughout the media. However, this fear is not based on facts, on real threats. None of the claims by the opponents of biotechnology have been substantiated by facts.
I believe this is an ethics, democracy type issue. We deserve the right to know if our food has been genetically modified.
Federal law already requires accurate food labeling that provides information relevant to health, safety, nutrition of all food products sold in the United States. Federal research and regulatory agencies have conducted years of studies that show no health or safety concerns that would call for labeling of a genetically modified crop.
The time that smoking on the label determined that if you participate in smoking, you may get cancer. Folks still smoke. They still buy a pack of cigarettes and they chew tobacco and cigars, all that stuff. So what would be your objection to simply putting on a label that this contains the following, and it doesn't say it causes cancer, doesn't say it's going to do anything to your gonads or cause anything else adverse? What if it's just saying on the label, this contains a genetically engineered or genetically modified?
I don't think anybody ever thought smoking was good for your health. I mean, let's be clear that smoking always was known to carry great deals of risks. In this particular case, there are no instances or nothing that you can identify. There's not even a scenario by which this would cause a health problem. It can be revoked at any time by the EPA, USDA, EPA, or FDA. And in fact, those countries around the world, they do the same studies. They reviewed all the data and see no problem. European Food Safety Authority, you can look it up, EFSA.com, is the European Commission's safety authority to look into the safety of these foods. And their conclusion is that it's just as safe. There are no nutritional differences, no safety differences. So why would you label something if there are no differences, nutritionally or otherwise, between biotech crops and non-biotech crops? What valuable information does that give? And to run these systems is going to be expensive and time-consuming.
I have one more question, Chair. It has to do with here locally. The Japanese have determined that if you're going to bring genetically modified papaya to their neck of the woods, they're still buying it and they're consuming it, but the precursor was you can't bring it here unless you label it. And nobody in Japan said causes cancer, does anything wrong or ill effects. They just said, in my understanding, Japan just said, you know what, you label that thing, and this is solely a consumer's right to know issue. That was it, black and white. What would your comment be to that?
Well, how they consume their food in Japan and the rules and the stringence and the customs are very different. And some are associated with trade barriers. So as you say, there are labeling requirements in Japan for biotech crops. But the oil from corn, cotton, and soy are exempt from labeling in Japan, as well as China, Indonesia, South Africa, Taiwan, and a number of other countries. That fits their economic model. Make no mistake about it, this is also a big part of a trade barrier. There are no safety issues. It's just what kind of labeling system do you want to have in the United States? One that makes sense or one that erects trade barriers to American farmers?
I'm just going to finish up with this. It's a kind of more of a comment, but if I'm going to buy a pizza and I go to the store and it says real cheese, I get the one with real cheese. Okay, thank you.
Even through the years, we've started the testing of these substances in the late 1980s. And even through the test of time, which seems to be a great concern, the same results come forward, and that is that there are no differences between these products and the ones that are sold in the market, and the reason the USDA and the FDA don't require the additional labeling.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony, sir.
Mr. Burke.
Councilmember Burke, go ahead.
I think the crux of this chair of 1257 and others like it is that if the consumer saw this on the label, I think the fears of Monsanto and those food producers would say, you're not going to buy my product. The likelihood is that if you put something adverse that's maybe not even adverse and you say artificial, you won't buy it. But I'd like to ask you the question then, in the subject matter of just the right to know, with your expertise and what you do for a living, if everyone in this room agreed with you and said there's absolutely nothing wrong with the GMO, bring it on, but we just want it on the label, how would you respond to that? Just put it on the label.
So I do not have a problem with people's right to know. I really don't. What I do have an issue with, is using a system designed to test the safety of food, because I really believe that it denigrates into a marketing program.
USDA, FDA, EPA has all evaluated these products for safety. There has never been found any case any deleterious effects. As a result of this, as Jerry Dill just referenced, there is no need to label something that is not nutritionally different. Let's talk about the real issue, which is there's no nutritional difference in composition in these items.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Burke has a question for you.
If you were in the aisle purchasing something, let's call it meat, and you just saw something on 60 Minutes or Dateline and it said pink slime. And now, none of the meat here tells me if there's pink slime. I have no clue. But because 60 Minutes and the television made it an issue, next thing we know, government responds because the people want to know. And when the people want to know and government hopefully responds, you now are in that aisle and you have a choice. You can buy the meat that's pink slime, or you could buy something that could be, Angus, whatever it may be. What would you do as a consumer? Would you want to know if you're ingesting pink slime or not? Basically, that's my question.
Well, I don't think your question can be, I can't answer your question.
It's in the context of right to know. It's outside the bounds of GMO. It's a right, because this is really a right to know issue. Do you want to know if there's pink slime in your food?
Sure. You want to know there's pink slime in your food. But the issue is, this isn't pink slime we're talking about. We're talking about nothing that's actually nutritionally different.
So if we are a government of, for, and by the people, you must respect the will of the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.